The microphone was never meant for him. It was meant to humiliate him. When the famous singer smiled and said, "Let the janitor sing." Alone. The crowd laughed already, convinced they knew how this would end. What none of them knew was that the man, gripping the mic, had been holding his voice back for a lifetime, and tonight it was finally done hiding. He stood there in borrowed silence, wearing a faded blue uniform that still smelled faintly of bleach and mop water. His name was Daniel Reyes, though no one in the grand concert hall bothered to learn it. To them he was just the janitor, the man who cleaned, spilled drinks, and swept applause confetti after stars like Serena Vale left the stage. Serena was famous worldwide, a voice praised as unreachable perfection. Tonight was her charity concert, and Daniel had been polishing floors since dawn. When Serena overheard a stagehand joking that the janitor sang better than most backups, she laughed, sharp and amused, and decided to make a show of it. "Come on," she said into the mic, eyes glittering with mock kindness. "Let's give him his moment. No music, no help. Just him." The audience roared, phones lifted ready to record a joke. Daniel felt his hands shake as the mic was pressed into his palm. His heart screamed at him to refuse, to step back into invisibility where he belonged. Memories rushed in, his father humming old hymns while fixing broken radios, his mother telling him his voice was a gift. The night he quit music forever to work 2 jobs after she died. He swallowed hard, eyes lowering to the stage floor. The laughter grew louder. Then he breathed in. The first note left him quietly, almost timid. The crowd leaned forward, unimpressed. Serena smirked. But then the note climbed, pure, steady, aching, and something changed. Conversations died mid-sentence. The second line carried pain, not polish. It wasn't perfect. It was real. By the time Daniel reached the chorus, his voice filled the hall like a confession too long held. It trembled, cracked, then soared higher than anyone expected. Higher than Serena had ever gone live without strain. Serena's smile froze. Daniel closed his eyes as he sang, no longer seeing the crowd. He saw the tiny apartment where he practiced at night with the radio off. He saw his reflection in the mop bucket singing to no one. He sang like a man who had already lost everything and had nothing left to protect. When he hit the final note, it rang clear and effortless, hanging in the air like truth. Silence. Then one clap. Then another. Then the entire hall rose to its feet. Phones were no longer recording a joke. They were capturing a moment. Serena stepped back, stunned, her face pale under the stage lights. She had never heard that note come from her own throat. Backstage after the show, Serena confronted him, pride bruised and voice tight. "Where did you learn to sing like that?" she asked. Daniel shrugged gently. "Life," he said, "and losing the chance to be heard." She scoffed at first, but the applause still echoed in her ears. For the first time in her career, she felt something unfamiliar. Fear. And curiosity. The next morning, videos of the janitor who outsang Serena Vale flooded the internet. Millions of views. Offers followed. Interviews, talent scouts, late-night shows. Daniel almost didn't answer any of them. Fame terrified him more than invisibility ever had. But when Serena herself called, her voice was different, quieter, stripped of arrogance. She asked him to meet. They sat in an empty rehearsal studio days later. No audience, no cameras. Serena admitted what no one expected. "I trained my whole life," she said. "But when you sang, I realized I forgot why I started." Daniel listened, not as a rival, but as someone who understood loss. She asked him to sing again, this time with her. Their first duet was rough. Serena struggled to match the emotion Daniel carried so naturally. She hit the notes, but they sounded hollow. Frustration broke her. Tears followed. Daniel gently stopped the music. "You're trying to be perfect," he said softly. "People don't need perfect. They need honest." Weeks passed. Serena learned to listen. Daniel learned to trust. They practiced not to impress, but to connect. When they finally performed together on a live broadcast, something extraordinary happened. Serena didn't overpower him. Daniel didn't hide. Their voices blended, fame and obscurity meeting halfway. At the end of the song, Serena stepped back and let Daniel take the final note alone. The world didn't just applaud, they understood. Daniel never quit being humble. He still greeted janitors by name. He still remembered where he came from. Serena changed too, using her platform to spotlight unheard voices, insisting that talent didn't belong only to those with spotlights. And every time Daniel stepped onto a stage, He remembered that night, the laughter, the fear, the breath before the first note. The moment meant to mock him became the moment that freed him. Because sometimes, the most powerful voices are the ones the world almost never lets sing.